Hi, welcome to Who's Watching Grandpa. My name's Rick Yost. I got a story for you. I'm telling on myself with this one too, I tell you. True story, which up till now, actually only my wife and I have known about because it was just so embarrassing. Anyway, last year, 2010, the night of the NBA Finals in downtown Dallas. Downtown Dallas was packed with people. I mean, all over the place. And it was also packed with policemen everywhere. Barricades, cones, flashlights, twirling and directing traffic, misdirecting traffic, looking for drunks, doing whatever they do. And every one of them that I saw had on one of those orange and silver reflective vests because it was very dark and people were very drunk. Cut to the end of the night. In the club, we were all exhausted. It had been one of the better nights we'd had there. And my wife and I were last to leave about 3:30, 4 o'clock. We walked out to our cars. She got in her car, I got in my truck. She pulls away, I'm right behind her. And some of you folks have been to the club, and you'll understand what I'm speaking of here when I say we were pulling out of the little alley that was right behind the building and just cutting across the width of Pearl to the corner there of Pearl and Jackson. We were going to take a left onto Jackson, go up to Central Expressway, and shoot home. And Tracy, my wife, she did that. We were right behind each other. She went right and turned left, and everything was cool. I was just a moment behind her. When I got to the light, it had turned red, so I stopped. And at this point, most all of the people that had been downtown for the NBA Finals and all the excitement and stuff, they were gone. But there were still a lot of policemen around. In fact, there was still a police car parked right at the corner that we had to pull around to get onto Jackson. I mean, right there, with his lights going. Every light he had was just a twirling, man. I mean, it was blinding. Okay, so I'm pulled up to this red light. I'm going to get to this. I swear. I'm pulled up to this red light. Okay, and it's two one-way streets. So I'm preparing to make a left turn on red. I look this way, and there's nothing. There is no traffic downtown at this point. Just cops. And I look, in front of me, nothing but black. The street light, as usual, is out. And, I don't see anything but dark, no cars. And, of course, as I turn my head this way, these lights are just, man, they're just tearing you up. So I go. I don't see anything. I'm cool. I pull around. I get into the curve. I'm happening. And I roll about maybe 5-6 feet before, bam! I don't hit another car. I don't hit a curb. I don't even hit the police car sitting on the corner. No. I hit a pedestrian. I hit a cop. It's exactly what I did. I hit a police officer as he was walking across the street and knocked him down. We stopped, of course. I put the truck in park. I turn off the engine. I turn on the inside lights, and I put my hands up so they can see exactly what I'm not doing. And I swear, in the short amount of time between our contact and me with my hands up in the air. There were half a dozen Dallas police officers in a circle around my truck, weapons pulled, cocked, and aimed directly at my head. I was definitely just about to shit my pants. I mean, I've never hit anyone with my car. I've never hit a pedestrian, you know? And the one and only time I do it, I hit a cop? Damn. And seriously, I mean, he got hit in the gut right here with the nose of my pickup truck. And, I mean, his head and his arms kind of like, flopped on the hood, and then he hit the pavement. So I'm sitting there like this, and one of the officers opens my driver door and very calmly says, "Would you please step out of the vehicle, sir?" I am scared. I'm sorry. I am scared shitless. And, they get me out, and I'm leaning against my own truck, and they're frisking me and patting me down, and looking at my license and asking me questions and shit. And they're patting down my legs. Okay, you know how they do, and they get down. I'm a double amputee, and I wear 2 prosthetics. Okay, so they get down to patting my legs down. They get down to my prosthetics, and they kind of jump back, and I'm like, "It's cool, no weapons, prosthetics, everything's cool. Please don't shoot me." I so bad do not want to get shot at this point, but they handcuffed me behind my back, and actually they had me stand right on the corner by my truck for like 20 minutes, which is, for an amputee like myself, 20 minutes is a fairly good amount of time for us to just stand somewhere. So I finally got up the nerve to ask one of the officers. I said, "Do you suppose I could sit down?" And he said, "Sure." So they throw me in the back of the police car. And if you've never been in the back of a Dallas police car, there is no seat. No, I mean, there really is no seat at all. You're on the floor, there's at least in the car I was in, but there's nothing but like a plastic shell around you. I guess once a week they hose it down or some shit. I don't know, but they could certainly care less how comfortable or uncomfortable you are in the back of their police car. But they probably have me in the police car for like, I don't know, 30 or 45 minutes. And I suppose at some point, my story was checking out, because I was telling them, I'm telling them everything I can tell them, and I said, that building right there, that one, I mean, that's my business, I suppose at a certain point, all this kind of came together. They realized I wasn't drunk, because they gave me I was walking straight line. I'm doing this. I can barely do that sober, but and they realized I wasn't drunk. And I suppose it was about this time that one of the officers came over to me. He's walked up to the window, and I'm still sitting, handcuffed in the back of the car. Comes over to the open window, and he says, "Sir, you might want to turn your head." Well, just a few seconds after he says this to me, I believe it was local news channel 8 had been downtown, just like filming whatever they can film of the debauchery, and having to see a bunch of cops standing around a black pickup truck with their guns out. So I guess they thought they'd stop, see what was going on. And seriously, just a second or two after he says, you might want to turn your head. There they were in this other window, man. I mean, like lights all over the place, and camera and shit. So I certainly did. I turned my head as far as I could, man. I'm sorry. I'm a fucking business owner. I don't need to have my face plastered all over Dallas. I can hear it now. Downtown business owner runs over, Dallas police officer or some shit. Either way, it wasn't going to be good. So, but the officers told me that the guy was fine. He was fine. He had the wind knocked out of him. Might be bruised here or there, but they said he's fine. He did go to Baylor, but it was kind of like procedure, you know. And strange thing, they didn't really let me drive my truck home. See, I didn't get a ticket. I didn't get arrested. I didn't get anything. Actually, they were extremely polite to me near the end of it. But they wouldn't let me drive my truck home. They drove it. One of the officers drove it to their little substation over there and parked it, and I had to pick it up the next day. And then they called this sergeant of some sort, marvelous gentleman, very very cool, to come and drive me home, which from downtown Dallas to North Plano, it was a half-hour drive. It was very cool. It was extremely interesting. And I didn't get to speak to the gentleman that I met that evening, but I did get his name and his number. And a couple of days later, I called and told him what I was, and I said, "Man, I feel like a worm." And he says, "Man, he says, don't worry about it. It's cool." He says, interesting what he tells me. He says, people in my line of work, sometimes we have to just remember that shit happens. That was the coolest thing he could have said to me. I was just like, thank you so much. Thank you so much. Shit does happen. And yeah, I had nothing but the best to say about the Dallas police before this, and I certainly have nothing but the best to say about them now. Because actually, I'll get a little deeper into that. All the time that we had the club open for the 4.5 years we were open, they were marvelous. The downtown Dallas police officers, I really appreciate them. It was cool. And of course I really appreciate them for not blowing my head off or not knocking one of them down with my truck. Shit. So that's it. I hit a cop. I feel actually. I really, now this is what I'm talking about. I actually feel better now that I have told the world that I did something this stupid. Gosh. You can't make this shit up. Anyway, appreciate you listening. Have a good one.